to another Dear Piggy Python tutorial. So excited to have you back this week. We are going to be learning about Python operators today. So this is going to be a quick, easy little video. You guys probably know most of this. It's pretty much common sense and really easy to remember. We're going to be performing mathematical operations, combining conditional statements, and as you already know how to do, assigning values to variables so that we can work with these operators. So let's go to Replit, open a new tab in your browser, go to repl.it, which is our online IDE that we use to write our code. Click the blue Start Coding button in the right-hand corner, choose your language Python, and create your REPL. So now, Python operators, the very, very simple ones that we know in mathematics are, everybody would know this. We learned this in I remember probably kindergarten. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, right? So these are very, very easy. Let's take like a minute to go over them really fast. So addition is literally just the addition sign. So I'm going to zoom in for you guys to kind of see here. It's the plus sign over here. It's x plus y minus subtraction x minus y, multiply, multiplication, x times y, division, x slash y. So these like multiplication and division you might be a little bit uncertain about, but those are pretty easy to remember. And modulo. So modulo is more of an advanced topic, but it's really handy when you use it in coding, and probably for maybe some more advanced middle schoolers and high schoolers, you've heard this in your math class, but it's basically taking the remainder of something, essentially. So let's come back to our Replit and let's give a variable. We can say num1 is equal to, let's do 5. Num2 is equal to 3. So now what we're going to do is we're probably going to say, like when we go back to our operators, we have to say maybe first addition. So let me say this is addition. And then we're going to say num3 is equal to num1 plus num2. Now, for those people who really got data types down pat, is this going to work? So this is a question that I want to ask you guys, because since we talked about data types last time in our previous classes, is num1 plus num2 going to give us 53 or is it going to give us 8? So let's run it and see what happens. It gives us 8. And now this actually is going to make a lot more sense, because in this case, num1, num2, they're both integers and we already wrote them right here. So the computer knows that when we didn't take it in these quotation marks, it knows that these are not strings. It takes them as integers. And when we did num3 equals num1 plus num2, again, we are using our addition operator, so it gives us the right answer. That was actually pretty easy to understand, just basic knowledge that we learned probably in first or second grade. So we can say num4 is equal to num1 minus num2, and then we can print num4, run our code, we get 2. 5 minus 3 is 2. Let's do multiplication, and then num5 is equal to num1 times num2. Let's look at what we get. And this is mental math. 5 times 3 is 15. So num5, we print it, we get 15. And last but not least, we have division. We aren't going to go over modulo today because some people, they have a hard time understanding what it is, and I don't blame them. That topic is slightly confusing. Why does it always do that? That is the one thing I do not like about Replit. Num6 is equal to num1 divided by num2. That is going to give us a pretty ugly number here, but let's print it out and see what we get. This was num6. We run our code, we get 1.666667, which is just 1.7, a repeating decimal. So these mathematical, very simple operators, I'm sure we all understand what they are, right? Now let's kind of move on to the next level. This is kind of like shorthand in my opinion, but honestly I think as long as you get it down right after you do it for the first time, the rest of the time comes pretty easy. And this is shorthand that you'll see everywhere. When I first learned this I was confused, but then I saw it being used over and over and over, and then I realized how so many people are prone to using this. So the operator plus equals. Now that looks slightly weird, right? Like why would you ever say x plus equals 3? Like what in the world? What does that mean? So what this means is x is equal to x plus 3. Minus equals is x is equal to x minus 3. Times equals x is equal to x times 3. Divide equal x is equal to x divided by 3. So you get the same idea, which is what I like. These ideas are repeated, and you just have to remember you set your variable equal to some integer value in our case, and then we do, for example, x is equal to 10, and then we do x plus equals 3, and then we can print x, and then we can see what happens. So let's go on to our replit here. I'm going to get rid of everything we've done just because I like my code short and concise in these tutorials. We can say, let's call it num1 again. Num1, wait, no, let's call it x. X is equal to 10. And then we are going to say x plus equals 3. And we're just going to leave it at that. And then we're going to print x here. So now when we run our code, it gives us 13. And this is really incredible because right now it might not look that cool, right? You're like, what's so cool about it, Sunny? You said x is equal to 10, and then in the next line you just changed it, right? But this is really important because when you have lots and lots of lines of code and you suddenly want to change something and you write x is equal to x plus 3, well, it might not seem that much of a deal for you, but for lots of people this makes their life a lot easier. So you are going to see this sort of shorthand, like I call it. You're going to see it very, very often. So now that we've kind of seen an example, let's do minus equals. And then what should we get this time? I'm going to pretend I heard you. We're going to get 7. Perfect. That's great. Let's do times equal, and we get 30 because 10 times 3 is 30. Then we do divide equal, which is going to get us a decimal, and it's 3.3333, whatever it is. These decimal points aren't exactly that precise because these computers use binary numbers in their mind, and we will work on that later. We will work on making these more precise in our future tutorials, but this shorthand is very, very powerful. X plus equals value is the equivalent, let me type this out, is the equivalent of saying x is equal to x plus value. And you're going to see it so many times. And honestly, you might not think this is a big deal, but you're going to see it a lot. So I think it's pretty important to know. Now that we've got our two mathematical operators down, let's go on to our conditional statements. And these are actually words. And I think the best way to work on these and to show how these are true is to use if-else statements. Personally, that's how I like to teach them. You have the mathematical operator and it returns true if both statements are true. Like, I know when we work on inequalities in math class, sometimes this sort of topic comes up a lot. Whoops, let me zoom back in if it'll let me. Give it a minute. There we go. So for example, the example that they gave is x minus 10 and x minus 5. So a number that would suit this value would probably be 3 because 3 is less than 5 and it is less than 10. And then the keyword or returns true if one or the other statement is true. So x is less than 5 or like x is less than 4. And this example that they gave isn't that great, but say x is 4.5. This would work because x is less than 5 and it only meets one condition out of the two. We're not going to work with that very much today, but reverses the result, returns false if the result is true. But I think our main focus in this tutorial is going to be and or. So we can kind of get started on that. Let me get rid of this and we can say if x is less than 17 and x is greater than 10, print and then we can give it something to print. We can say x is in this range, and I can't type today. And we can say else print x is not in this range. Now notice how Replit is giving me an error over here. It's underlining my code saying you did something wrong, and it says undefined name x. And as you've probably noticed, I've left a space up here, and this is where we are going to define our variable x. So we can say x is equal to, let's see, if we want our code to work, we'd have to print a value that's less than 17 and greater than 10. So we can probably pick 15. And what should that give us? It should say x is in this range. Now, if we wanted it not to be in this range, we could give it 9. And so if we run that code, it says x is not in this range. So that is our conditional statement, this and, keyword and. And means that it has to meet both requirements. Now, or is slightly different. We can change the numbers. We can use 10, and then we can use x is less than 10, and we can say or x is greater than 20. And in this case, x is 9. So if we run it, what should it give us? Logically, x is less than 10, but it is definitely not greater than 20. But in this case, since we're using the keyword or, as long as it meets one out of these two results, it's going to be fine. So if we run our code, we see that x is in this range. It does meet this condition. Now, if x was 15, and we ran our code, it says x is not in this range because 15 is not less than 10 and it is not greater than 20. It does not meet any of our conditions. So it's going to print the else part. So again, just to emphasize one more time, when you use the keyword and, it has to meet all of your conditions. If you use the keyword or, it has to meet at least one. So that is our Python operators tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.